Hello, how are you? I believe you are fine. We are doing fine here as well. And here once again, we are still demystifying computer studies project year 2025. And I thank you for being in our channel or having interest in our channel, where we upload helpful videos, especially when we are tackling these technical issues related to computer studies. Now, so if you have not subscribed, can you remember to hit the subscribe button down there? You also like the videos. This is how you sustain, you motivate us to keep creating content which you might like in the future. Otherwise, welcome once again. Today, in our series of videos, I'll be handling a question here which has been asked by Ruth Joy. Ruth Joy has a question and says, "Hi teacher." Hi Ruth. Are we supposed to create annual parties table? Are we supposed to create annual parties table? Now, on our screen, what forms the question that Ruth Joy is asking is a paragraph somewhere, I think on page 2 or 3, down there. Yes, on page 3, I believe we've got this paragraph with us about revenue. And it's the paragraph that I'm now highlighting over on your screen. You can see that there is two paragraphs that I'm going to highlight there and bold them, and we got them through them together, these two paragraphs. So the question is formed, what informs the question is these two paragraphs. Each club should carry out one revenue generating activity to support its other club's activities. Details of the activity, which includes activity name, date of occurrence, and the amount collected, must be provided. For example, in the debate club, the activity may include organizing debate tournaments, or selling club merchandise, or hosting fundraising events. Out of the total revenue generated from the club's activities and registration fees, 50% is allocated to supporting the club's ongoing activities. 30% is allocated to organizing the club's annual parties or outings outside the school. The balance is saved for the club. So how much balance? I believe it must be 20%, because already 50 is allocated for supporting club's activities and 30 is allocated for organizing bash, annual bash. Now, Ruth, how do we approach this issue? Yes, we must require to have a way that we are going to handle annual, handling revenue. But we are not going to create a table where we shall be just posting issues to do with that annual activity or annual parties expenditure and the like. But we are going to create a table where we shall be recording revenue. Revenue is income, money coming in. We have planted some maize in the school compound, and we have been allowed to harvest that maize, sold to the kitchen, sold to the school, and the school paid. We earned some money. The scouting club went out. They played some band. They have some band, a school band. And the MP Mheshimiwa gave them a token of appreciation, 25,000 K. What is that? Income to the scouting club. So now we are going to have a kind of a table which is going to allow us to be recording revenue, that is income, money getting into the club. And then every club must have some expenditure. They bought something. For example, they went out and they bought some water. When they were walking, doing a charity walk, they gave every participant a bottle of mineral water. That is what? expenditure. So in this case, my dear Ruth here, we are going to create two tables. One, to monitor revenue. Two, to monitor expenditure. So let's do it hands-on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We do it hands-on. So I'm now switching to Microsoft Access once again. You like Microsoft Access? Somebody hates Microsoft Access. I wonder why you would hate such a sweet program. Hey. So where do we begin? I'll begin by creating that table which we are going to use to be monitoring or capturing revenue, money in, cash in, whatever you want to call it. You may call it cash in table, revenue table, income table, whatever other name that you may want to give it. It's up to you. Mine, I'm going to call it a revenue. Yours, I don't know what you are going to call yours. Anyway, let's move on. Create what? A new table in table design. A new table in table design. Then it's always good practice to have every table with a primary key. Though in this table I feel like there is no primary key which is necessary. But let's just call it revenue ID. Sometimes we may want to sort by that primary key and the like. So let's just have a field like that, revenue ID, which we shall call an auto number to be generated by the computer. It will be generated by Microsoft Access automatically. This becomes the primary key of this my table. It's the primary key of that my table. Then revenue activity. Revenue activity. You can call it activity name, activity narration. So I am feeling like calling mine revenue activity, and it will be what? If your computer is showing things like short text and so on, it's still the same thing that I'm having here, which we call text. And because of reserving memory, we don't want to misuse memory of this my computer. I go to field properties down there, field size. I'm going to limit this narration to a field size of 150. It's a text data type. We don't want to take the whole memory of 255 bytes. We want to take less memory, and that's why we need to change if you want to anyway. Okay, then date of let's call it, let me start by revenue date. Call it revenue date or date of income. Whatever the name of the field will vary. We cannot think like the same way. You have your own way of thinking. I have my own way of thinking. So let's not think the same. So you go ahead, make yours there. You're making yours. Amount, revenue amount, income amount, or whatever you want to call it. And this shall be, I'm going to use, I normally like number data type, but down there, the field properties, I'm going not to use long integer, but I'm going to use a data type that we call who? We call it single. It stores numbers with decimals. And when I use single, no, let me not use single. Let me just go straight to format. And in format, I choose a data type called standard and to 0 decimal places. Standard will show numbers with the comma. Let it remain as a long integer. One day we might be given a billion by somebody. Then when you have a billion, is a large figure, you would require to use a long integer or double for this case in case it is going to have the decimal places. Very good, very good, very good. You may want to have a remark column whereby you might say, we received this money when we were idling around or whatever had happened. Remark, I leave it as it is now with text data type and 255 characters down there. Save the table. I'm saving my table. I'm calling it revenue TBL. Revenue who? TBL. Sorry. One more critical thing. I'm so sorry. I forgot very critical thing which must follow the second row here. I'm going to insert a very critical row. I don't know how I forgot about that, because this is what brings in the amazingness of relating my clubs to this particular table. So club ID, that's a field that we are going to borrow from clubs table. Okay, so how do I achieve that? Club ID is the primary key of another table called clubs TBL. So I'm going to do a lookup wizard here, lookup wizard, and there we are. We have started the wizard. Zoom out a bit so that my viewer can be able to see where we are, what we are creating. We are creating a field which looks up a value from another table, or where in this case another table called who? Clubs TBL. So that's what we want to use, or query. Then we click on next. Then which table? Clubs TBL. I choose it, click next. And then which field? Now, a question which I've been waiting for. Why am I finding, like, when I have used club ID, instead of club ID appearing like 01, 02 and the like, I'm finding the name of the club. It's because of my selection when I'm using this wizard that I am picking both club ID and also the club name. I'm picking how many fields? 2. Now watch what I do in the next steps. So here I don't want to sort in any order. Let it remain as it will be displayed. Now this is where I'm able now to show the name of the club instead of that club ID number, which may not make so much sense to the user. You see, having number 01 as computer club, it's not making sense. It doesn't make sense to have 02 for debate club. So we want to use the actual name. So what happens is the Microsoft Access actually chooses by default to hide the key column. If you unhide, this will be the scenario that you are going to have the club ID there, and then you are going to have the actual club name. But in this case, we want the user to have an easy ride in our system. Let's just show them what they need to see. The name of the club is what they want to see. Let them see it. It's there. Let them see it. Okay, then we carry on. Then do we want, this question is very critical. It's the one which enforces referential integrity, relationships among the tables. So you make sure you enable referential integrity and then you finish. Referential integrity and then you finish. Get the question asking, the table must be saved before relationships can be created. Save now. Oh yeah, do it. Please save. So that's how now I am done with the revenue table. I close it. And I now go back again there to another table which we are going to create now, the spending part that every club has got to spend. The money they get in, there will be of course some expenditures here and there, expenses, money going out, paying for this or the other. So let's create it. Table design. Again, well, expense ID. Now you've gotten my concept of having this auto number. The computer does it for me. Primary key. Yes. Then a club ID before I forget it. Again, it's the club which is making this these expenses. It's incurring these expenses. Lookup wizard as in the previous case. And then how do we want the lookup column, the lookup field to get values from another table, That's the option I choose. Carry on. Which table? Clubs TBL. Then carry on and say which fields? Club ID, club name. You remember why? Club name? Because we want in the next step somewhere, after one step, the other one, we are going to only limit ourselves to the column which is showing club name instead of club ID. Why? Club ID does not make sense to the user. What makes sense to the user is club name. Are you getting that? Club ID is a number. does not make sense to anybody. It makes sense only to the computer and you, because you are the designer. So here, this is where we now have this step. How would you look? Do you want to hide the key column? Yes, this is what the computer is recommending. Let's hide it so that we only see the name of the club and not the club number, not the club ID. Okay, then next, remember to enforce referential integrity and finish. We have not saved the table yet. Would you like to save the table? Yeah, save it. And what do you want to call the table? Wewe ujue vile utakavyoita yako. Mimi kwangu, I want to call it what? Expenses table. Expenses what? Expenses TBL. We together that far. Very good. Expense narration. Expense narration. Expense narration. So this is like, what are we spending for? Buying water for a charity work, or buying stationery. When we had an event somewhere, we bought some stationery. We had invited a motivator, a motivational speaker to our club. We paid 5,000, and that's the narration we are going to put there. So let it be left as long as possible. 255 characters. Sometimes money issues are very stingy. So you may want the person who is doing the mathematics to explain as much as possible. Let it be left as 255. Date of expense. Date of expense is the next what? Field. What data type? Date time. Kama ujui hivyo. And then we have expensed or spent amount. Spent amount. So we have this as number again, and then down there in format we call it standard, and decimal places set to 0. I don't know why I feel like we should have done some default value. I don't know whether you know how to set default values. This is why I want just to go back a bit and change the date of expense. I apply date of expense row. Yeah, date of expense. I want to have a default value. Every time I'm opening this table to create a new record, I want the computer to automatically check what is the date today, and it inserts it automatically by default, unless the user chooses to change. So to achieve that, what do we do? Well, to achieve that, setting the default value to the today's date, you use the date function. So you see where I've gone, a table field properties, that is, and then down there, default value, I have already indicated date within brackets. Okay, so these are the issues about validation rule, validation text. You go study about that. Know what else should be done in case you want to add validation rules and validation text. Okay, I get a long message here. I believe you have ever found it. Because I have ever found it, that the table might have been changed. Sell it, yes. Then close the table. Let me go back again to revenues TBL, and I change also revenue date here, and I apply a default value for revenue date, and I say default value is the date function. Date function, you just type the word date, open and closing parenthesis. We'll do that. Okay. Now we have got a place where we shall be recording revenue, where we shall be recording what we have spent as well. Very good. As a reminder of the long procedure which we followed in the previous video, I believe you have followed video number what now? The previous video in this series, which must either be, is it number 3, is it number 4, whatever video it is. I believe it's number 3. This might be number 4. If you have followed what we have explained in the previous video just before this one, you'll notice we have got a lengthy procedure of creating a mother and child form. That's what I want us to do again for these two scenarios where we are having a club and then the respective income that the club is generating, okay, where we shall be recording income for any club. In this form, especially on the mother form, we are going to do some extra enhancements, which will now be something that you should be improving on any other form that you are going to create of this nature, a form that has got mother and child. So just follow closely the enhancements that we are going to do in this particular form. And we are going to do it a little bit fast because there is where I'm targeting us to go. So we had said you go to create menu and then you choose form wizard so that the computer does the amazing work for us. And which table are we starting with? We are starting with Mambo ya revenue, and therefore we start with club TBL. It's the club which is making this revenue. Choose necessary fields like club ID, club name, club category, and you need the patron, okay, and the logo. Then that's the table number 1, clubs TBL. When still there, we now go back again and choose the second table, which is revenues table, revenues TBL. I may not include the revenue ID because that's a number which will not be making much sense to the user of the system. Do I also require the club ID? I don't want to reproduce it. The computer will have its own way of creating the association because of the relationship that has been created between the two by enforcing referential integrity. Then the computer will know how to manage club ID when I omit it in the second scenario, or rather in the second table. So revenue, activity, yeah, revenue date, amount, and remark. Okay, now that's how I cater for revenue. Then carry on to the next step. And how do I want to have my organization? The organization predicted or suggested by Microsoft Access is perfectly in order. How do you want to view your data? By clubs TBL, the mother table, the one which has got the primary key of clubs ID. Okay, then we don't have to change anything down there. We can just carry on, go next, and then how do I want the child form? The sub form in this case, I want it to be in tabular layout, and next. And now let's give titles to these forms in regard to the thing that is happening within the forms. These forms, we are using them for what? For revenue, and therefore I'm going to call the first one revenue mother FRM, and the second one I'm going to call it revenue child, revenue subform, revenue small form, revenue child, or let me call it officially revenue subform. That is okay, that's enough. Revenue subform, and then we finish. So the computer there, it does the amazing work of creating a perfect design. Is it perfect as we would have wished it? Somehow yes, somehow no, somehow okay, somehow not okay. Okay, so it's us now to do the enhancements very, very fast, like changing the appearance of these controls. I have selected the text boxes of the mother, and I want to make them have equal size. So I go to arrange size space, and I say to widest. I also prefer them have a border around them, a brownish border around them. All this time I'll choose green color. Revenue is well represented by green color, so I'll choose green color in this case. And for the font of the text boxes, I'm gonna use still green color, which I'll put also in bold. Then also the labels, I also want to have them with darker blue, darker green. And something that I forgot, I saw club ID moving towards right alignment. I also want to have it in left alignment. Okay. Another question which I have ever received from students, how do I make my fields? Like now, when I display my form here, the mother form in form view, I'm having a plain number 1. But there are times when I may want to have a series of 0001. Okay, how do you make that? So it's easy. In design view, you go to the field of interest, the one which is displaying a number. Notice the field must be of number data type. You go to format page, and that is in the properties sheet. Format page, you type how many zeros do you want to have as prefix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want a number that if it is not having 5 digits, there will be prefix zeros to make it complete in how many digits? 5 digits. Are we together? Very good. Then club logo, I have not liked where it is being placed, so I move the label above the text box or the picture, the image area, and this is just a logo, so we make it smaller. I make it a little bit smaller. Like so. And then the club logo, I go to format, shape outline, same color of border, and then I may change the line thicknesses to, the line thickness to surround my logo. Then the text there shall be dark green. I may bold or I may not bold. The title of the form, so I'm doing these things so that those who have questions, how did I do the other forms? This is what I did. Revenue details capturing form. This is where we shall be capturing details about revenue. So I'm putting that at the form header. Then I may shade this area with say a green color like that, and then probably the label there, I may change the color to a contrasting color, and then anything else you want to do, like changing the font. I like this font so well, font called Arial Black. I don't know why I like it, but I just find myself falling in love with Arial Black. Now that's the mother. Then the child therein, I want to have this title, revenue. It has brought a title automatic. The title of the subform, it's showing me revenue, the word revenue. I have moved it. And how do we move it? You just point to the top left corner. Top left corner is a thick sizing handle. It resembles a sizing handle, but actually it does not resize anything. It is used for moving. It's used for moving. Revenue recording. Recording. Okay. Revenue recording zone, or whatever you may want to call it. I rarely do modification of the child form when I am in the mother. I normally prefer opening the child form when it is in isolation. So I want to do some modification to this child form in isolation, and therefore what I'm going to do is to close the mother, close the mother, save the changes. Then I open the revenue subform. Under forms, I go to revenue subform, open it in design view. Then very fast, I want it to resemble in appearance, I want it to resemble the mother. The mother should not be black and then the child is appearing funny with some other funny colors. There must be some blending. Blending of what? Blending of colors. So revenue activity, there we go. Then I have moved the selected row of labels upward a bit by using of arrow keys. Then I drag the detail bar upward a bit. I don't want to have wastage of space. That's why I am moving like that. Then I select the whole row of these text boxes as well. And first I notice revenue activity and remark they are given a longer height, an undesirable situation. So what do? I want to have them with an equal height. So I go to arrange option. When they are all selected, the text boxes are all selected, I go to arrange, and up there, size or space, I tell it reduce to the shortest, kale kafupi. Okay, then I want them to not be having, okay, let them be surrounded by a border this time. So I'm going to put a shape outline, the color I had selected there before, a color that is green in color. I may also want to have the entries that the user will be making to appear bolded, Then the revenue activity appears to be so wide, I may not require the whole of this space for revenue activity, and therefore I have selected the label above and the text box below by use of shift. So I click either the revenue activity text box, then hold shift, and then click the label above. Reduce the size. How am I doing it? Shift arrow key pointing left is the one I use to reduce the width of a control. Then that gives me a space enough now to drag these others. I have selected multiple objects using the mouse like that, and I want them to move together towards the left. Move together to the left. Let's move together to the left. Then I go again to remark. Remark again is too wide, probably even not to fit on the screen. So likewise, I reduce, shift left arrow, I reduce the width of that. So that gives you a surplus space on the right side of the form design area. Reduce it again by dragging it so that there is no wastage of space to the right side. Okay, we have no record to display for now. We have not as yet entered any revenue activity so far. But what you'll notice, once you start recording revenue activities, you cannot record directly here. Don't test that. You will record when you are on the mother. But you'll notice that there will be that alternating gray color. When you create a row, the next record will be white color versus gray. But we want it to be white versus greenish. So what do? How we change that is by, once again, we go to design view and then click the detail bar. The detail bar is the one which helps us to change that setting. When the detail bar is the item selected on the properties sheet, then you can see on the format page of the properties sheet, there is the alternate color. So build a color. In this case, try to use a color that synchronizes with the colors that you are using for your forms. Very good. Right. I said we are going to do some extra enhancements. One thing that shall be assessed by your examiner is your ability to create summaries on reports and also on forms. So I want to create a summary that will be showing, of course, there will be that time when we shall have populated so many revenue income activities that have generated a lot of revenue to a particular club. And when it is displayed, we may want to get what is the total revenue that we have already collected. So what do? I will expand a bit downward the form footer bar just slightly below, or even without even dragging it. I can simply just go to the design menu, and then we have got the controls that you can always create and place on your form. I am interested with the second control. After the selection tool, we have the second control, a B tool, which is a text box. I click it once, and then I want it to be exactly below where amount text box is appearing at. So with it, I draw a text box enough just equal to, almost equal to the size of the text box above. It's not a must that you try to be so precise on that, because there are other ways of adjusting the size of a control. Once you have done that, there is the left item, which is a label, what is describing whatever we have on the right side. So we are describing this control. We want to call it total revenue. I always prefer avoiding capitalization of items so much, and instead I use mixed capitals and the like. Total revenue. Then I choose the two of them. I want them to appear bolded. On home, I want to bold these, and because we want also to draw the attention of the user to this particular area, I'm going to indicate a bigger size, font size, than what I'm using above there. I have used size 14. Then that makes now my controls to not fit the text that we have therein, and therefore I have to do some slight adjustments, as you can see on your screen. This bottom area, I also want to have it with a skirting color, a good color at the bottom of this particular area. So I choose a darker color than what we have on the header. Then total revenue, I give it an attraction color, a color that will attract the eyes of the user. I don't know whether that color is good enough. No. First, let me have the label with the yellow color. So don't use these colors. I'm using them. If I choose a particular color, you must not use that color. You must come up with your own color. You must come up with your own color. Okay, so this text box now, so far it has done nothing. It will do nothing so far. It will do nothing because already when you see a control, especially a text box, and you are told it's unbound, it's not associated, it's not connected to anything. It's not connected to a field. It's not connected to a control. So what shall control this text box? When it is still selected, I go to the properties sheet and I go to the data page. Which page? Data page. Everybody, data page of the properties sheet. And then which option? Control source. Under control source, we have got a build button, the 3-dotted button. You click it and there you are, ready to create an expression. So we call this window what? Expression builder. Everybody repeat, expression builder. What expression are we building? Type the word SUM, sum. What? Sum. I have said sum. Open parentheses, as I have done up there. Zoom in mwalimu so that they see clearly. So sum, opening parentheses, and then thereafter now under expression categories, you click there in the middle column, expression categories, choose field list, and then you choose amount. You choose amount. By double clicking, it will be posted up there in the expression builder area. Okay, you're going to have the word amount there, a field, and then you close the parentheses. You close the word, the parentheses. So what do we want to see? We want to see the summation of the amounts that will be listed above there. So whatever amounts that will be listed above there, they are going to appear in the text box that we have just so far created. You happy? Okay. Then one more thing before we leave it, we are going to have it with the comma symbol. With a comma symbol. So we want to format this control and tell the computer what kind of a format do we want to have it with. We want it to display as a standard control with 0 decimal places. So it is going to now display numbers with a comma style. So far, so good. Close the subform and remember to save it. Where is the save? Yeah, you are here. Save it. And now let's see what we have done when we are in the mother form. When we are in the mother form. So I'm now on the navigation bar, on the navigation pane rather, where I'm opening revenue mother form. Okay, now the display of the mother, of the child on the mother, is not very appealing. Why? It's not appealing. Why? Why is it not appealing? Why? It is because there are some columns which are already hidden. Cause of that, size. Okay, cause of that is size, the limitation of size. So what do we want to do? To widen the space provided for the child form. So when you have now gone back to design view, you click on the child, the subform, and you widen. You widen until you are able to see the very last column appearing in full. Remark is appearing partly. So I'm still resizing. Where is my resizer handle? Who has taken it? Yes, my resizing handle is there. So I resize until I'm able to see the very last column appearing fully. Another thing that gives an undesirable result is like now the area that we have here. The area that we have at the bottom here, which is not utilized by anything or by anybody. So block it up or close it up. Let the band, the form footer band, be dragged upward so that there is no space wasted down there. No space wasted down there. Now we display what we have done. We display what we have done, and okay, I feel like traveling on. Things are becoming a little bit better here. So this is Computer Club number 1, and we are using this form to record what? Revenue. We are using this computer or this form, this platform, to record revenue. Let's give it a trial. 2 records are sufficient for a trial. So sale of Computer Club magazine, Computer Club magazine. Okay. Date. You remember we set the default value, date function. There it is, showing us the date today. Amount, after we sold these magazines, we collected 12,000. Okay. Some magazines remained. Magazines to be sold later. You can put any remark if you want to. What else do we do as a computer club? Designing motivational badges for students or for whoever. Then how much revenue did we get in there? They paid 4,000, and there may be no remark. So when I alternate, I move the cursor from one record. Now the second record is not yet saved, or it's already now saved. You can see the total is appearing, the total revenue is appearing at the bottom there automatically. So that is what I wanted to do. Thank you, Ruth, for your question. Thank you, guys, for watching. Thank you for following on. It's been a journey. But I'm happy that you have followed up to where we have so far reached. Keep it here. Don't forget to subscribe, like it, comment, and share. And download. Keep it for yourself. Never know, YouTube might be closing very soon. God bless you.